Hey, everybody. It's Katie Scherer, founder and lead creative of Big Picture Strategies. Thank you so much for joining tonight. It's a pleasure once again to address you and talk about branding, which is my favorite thing. So I put together some notes for tonight. What I like to do before I come on live, and sorry for the whatever's back here. Sorry about that. Before I come on, I like to kind of peruse what's going on in the world of branding, and obviously, what's kind of hot for today, and as I was looking, I was like, there's a lot going on, isn't there? There's a lot of controversy, a lot of bad news, a lot of terrible things happening, and brands are swooped into these controversies right and left, and these hot news cycles and the scrutiny right and left. There's brands facing crisis communications probably everywhere you look these days. So let's talk a little bit about crisis management. And so there's actually something called media training, which you may or may not be aware of, that executives and corporations and business people and public figures of all kinds often consult specialists who specialize in media training and how to answer difficult questions from interviews or unfortunate events, and so a lot of what we're talking about here. I'm not going to mention any brands. I don't want to get into analysis or anything like that, but it's a really heavy news day with a lot of businesses connected to a lot of what's going on. So thinking back to media training is founded on the concept of continuing to present your message no matter how somebody might want to change your message or change what you're going to say. A skilled interviewer will kind of get in there and get the information that they want out of you by the way they ask, by the way they ask you questions. And so in media training, you learn how to consistently present your core messaging and what you want to come out of this encounter, interview, whatever article, so that you're continually playing your hand while I'm back. Hopefully you didn't drop. I thought I had already had my hotspot on, but anyway, I hope this is connecting okay. I think everything is good. Okay, so we were talking about, sorry about the gap there. We were talking about media training, consistently presenting your message in the face of crisis or, heavy interview questions, things like that. So the way that you can build that kind of toolkit for yourself stems from building a strong brand story in the first place and defining the values that you need to continually present in the face of whatever may come your way. So today there's a lot of controversy with brands, and here's what they're getting tripped up with: disconnected messaging that's not on brand, uninformed messaging that's not relevant or helpful to their audience or causes confusion. We talked a little bit about that last week. Reactive messaging. So answering questions or unknowingly getting roped into something that you don't intend to wade into. Discredited messaging. Someone catching you in an inconsistency may or may not be something you're even aware of. Could be a way that you responded to a comment on social media. Could be a post, if you're in a larger organization or you have people posting for you. Could be something that you haven't seen. And so obviously there's ways to prevent that, right? So discredited messaging and also careless messaging. And let's just, put it out there. Mistakes happen. Social media is its own beast, but behind it are people. And so we've certainly seen our fair share of unfortunate mishaps in messaging. Okay. So everyone should be prepared for scenarios like this, especially because in this day and age, unlike when I was doing media training for corporations, a mere not even, a little over 10 years ago, let's say, maybe a little longer than that. Everybody who's online is now exposed to the kind of scrutiny and potential pitfalls, and everybody out there has you could have a super local business, and the people on Facebook, the local Facebook group can bring you down. Okay, so at every level, every brand, every business, every entrepreneur, every executive in whatever business needs to be prepared to address these potential pitfalls, no matter how big or small your business may be or at what stage. So you need to be prepared. But before you get there, before you achieve that level of preparation, you need a strong foundation for getting through a crisis. And so here are the keys that you need to do that. Again, quick break here. Everybody, or everything I'm about to mention here, is described and covered in detail in my course, The Big Picture Method for Business. Link below. You will definitely, what's the word? You will definitely feel prepared for this situation if you go through my course. And I'm sorry, I'm tripping over my words tonight. Been one of those days, everybody. Oh my goodness. Let's backtrack. Please check out my course, The Big Picture Method for Business, in the link below, and getting back into, before you get there, laying a foundation for getting through a crisis. Number one key, you want a strong brand story to stand on. So we've talked about that. Number two, you need strong flagship core messaging. You need to lay out your answers to any sort of anticipated and or reasonably unanticipated questions that you want to have answers for already written. And that's not being fake or insincere. That is part of equipping your team, which I'll get to here in a couple minutes. But that's just being smart. If you're caught in the middle of a controversy, you don't want to fumble on your words. You want to be clear about what you want to say and how you want your business to get through this particular instance. And you don't want to be using your emotional, freaked out mind to do it. You want to go back to some strong flagship core messaging that's already been well thought through and drafted. And you don't have to post a drafted response, but you can take your response from there. You want to have these strong messages ready to go for anything, okay? And you want to, of course, have defined values and a mission statement. And so these are the three things that are going to be in your back pocket always to address any sort of controversy in messaging, social media, anything. So bottom line here, be prepared from day one. That's basically, these are the steps that you need to take to build into your brand messaging and your brand building and defining as you go, as you build up. The other thing you need are savvy team members. Now, you might not have team members. Maybe it's just you. That's cool. You need to be savvy, okay? That means you need to be smart and quick and know what to do when a messaging branding crisis hits you. And so the steps related to that would include seeing issues coming and being prepared to respond, either respond or redirect. You need to decide that before you decide what to do. Pivot and be nimble, and you want to strategically avoid controversy in your market and sphere of influence if at all possible. So you want to have an equipped team with those defined, clear brand assets ready to go, the messaging we talked to, authority to respond as quickly as possible when the situation calls for it, and easy direct access to you 24/7. Now that's if you have a team. If it's just you, obviously that doesn't apply. But if you have a team who is handling your social media, or is, you're relying on them to take certain steps with regard to this process, they need to be able to call you, talk to you about the nuances of the situation, refer you to media. You never want media to be waiting for you. If somebody in your, wants to talk to you, let's say, there's a situation happening and you are the one local business that's related to this situation in the news, they might want to talk to you. You want to be available for local media. They're going to be shooting off of hot stories. Where can you be relevant for the people in your community or in your specific market to address this, any sort of issue? So there's a lot to crisis messaging. This is obviously its own huge topic, and it's wild out there, folks. Are you ready to do business in this wild, crazy connected world? That's what you need to think about. So we want to be prepared, be informed, and probably one of the best things we can do is learn from others. And so part of being informed, get yourself out there, know what's going on, and see how these people are handling a crisis, and determine for yourself whether you think it's effective messaging or not, an effective handling of the situation or not, and think about how you would do the same if you were in that situation. Okay, so that's me for tonight. If you have any questions about crisis communications or branding, please definitely reach out to me on social media. Always available. And definitely check out my course, The Big Picture Method for Business, in the links below. And I'll see you next week. Bye.